Here is my first attempt with working in the manner of Pastiglia, which hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I'm not sure if I'm butchering it or not. But from my understandings, it's a Italian word for gesso relief. After doing quite a bit of research, from my understanding, basically a gesso with an extra ground added to it, which is normally chalk. I couldn't find chalk, so I ended up using plaster, Paris. So there was me, had to put the... Actually, I forgot to shake the gesso before I opened it. Trying some different gesso this time. Still using golden, but tried a different type. This is sandable gesso. So normally when I open it, I don't need to really shake it. So I just did this all by eye and feel of mixing it and putting it in. I'm sure there's a certain ratio that you could use. I just got an idea of the way that I thought it was going to feel when I needed to start lying it down. It's funny, I can't remember the last time I've seen or used plaster. I was probably a kid. And I basically just stirred it for quite some time. It ended up being quite thick, a little too thick. So I decided to add some water to it. So after I got a good mix with it, I started lying it down. Now this is my first time ever experimenting with this. I didn't even try it out on, a small piece or anything. I just figured, worst case scenario, I could just sand it off if it didn't work out. Now, I actually ended up going over this twice because, especially with the crown or the halo piece, because I didn't feel like it was raised enough. But I let it dry for a full day before I ended up going back over it again. It was very enjoyable to do, but it was quite a tedious process. And I definitely had less control than I was going to say than I thought that I would have, but I didn't even really know what to expect from it at all. But a lot of the control was just basically just dabbing, and it was very difficult to draw straight lines or with it because it was how thick it was. Now, I've always wanted to work in the method of Pastiglia, but I didn't even know what it was called. I knew the paintings that I loved, and you would see it was all the iconic work and the altar pieces, just all that religious work with the gold leaf and the raised halos, or whether they were vines and leaves and angels and all sorts of stuff like that. Or a lot of times they'd have like the wings that would be all gold leaf and raised off the paintings. So probably about a month ago, I started looking into it and trying to figure out the history and the name of it, so I could try to find some videos about it and that. And I think maybe the first thing I stumbled upon was maybe it was an eWikipedia page, and then that's how I ended up getting the name of Pastiglia. And so therefore I was able to find out a lot much more reference online and videos about it. So there's not too much out there, but there was a bit. But it definitely got me to the point where I am today, where I knew, oh, okay, it's actually just this kind of plaster, or really thick gesso that made the relief work. So. Now, because I was working on this flat on the table and at the angles that I was sitting in, or even standing over the piece, this perspective right here on the cross part probably looks okay, but it was way off. So I ended up getting out a blade and very easily just being able to take off the lines to the upper and lower part of the cross. So this time I got the ruler out just to make sure that I was right on. And then because of the redoing the lines, I needed to redo those little dot reliefs. The Pastiglia method of working was most common, I believe, that you found it in the 14th and 15th century. So that would be a lot of the religious work, I guess, that you would find it most common in. And it was pretty common in a lot of frames, too. probably more. Well, actually, I think maybe in the 14th and 15th century. I was going to say, maybe more common in the 15th, but so this is where I just went in with black gesso to fill in the background, because I know that it's going to be a figure coming out of the darkness. So it's going to be a really dark background. So I just felt that this would be a better way to get a lot of the coverage done quicker. I really like using this black gesso too, because it's almost, you add a little bit of water to it and it almost feels like you're working with ink. Now, one of the most exciting parts that I'm really looking forward to is experimenting with using bold to do the water gilding, which I've never done in this way before ever. So it's going to be really exciting to work on that method. I just got the gold yesterday, and the bold as well. And it's going to be fun to use real gold again too, because that's been forever since I've done that. So we'll see where this goes. Hopefully it's successful. Have some ideas for the water. I'm not sure really quite yet if I'm going to go the way that I'm going to go with it, but we'll see. But just wondering the ideas that I have, if it's going to work out or not. Well, thank you everybody so much for tuning in, and we'll be back very soon with another video. See you soon.